Barrister Joanne. Don't worry, I know there's all the other surname at the end. And you can also tell us more when you want to tell us about yourself. The most important thing for anyone that is watching right now to know is that you got trained outside of Canada, you are currently practicing in Canada. You're a superwoman as far as I'm concerned, because I'm going to tell you why. Some people, when they finish, they look for work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But right, only few people have the guts to start their own firm, to start their own business, and that's something you've done. So, for people that are watching, you're not just looking at a normal person. Anyways, I don't bring normal people here. If we are here, it's because you are super abnormal, you know, in a good way. So thank you very much for joining us, Barrister. And can you tell us about yourself? Just a bit of introduction.
Okay, sure. Can you hear me well?
Sure.
I'm not echoing or anything like that.
No, don't worry, I'm good to go.
Okay. All right. So this is my first Instagram live. So if I mess up, forgive me. So my name is Anelika. I also go by Joanne. Last name Edeko. I'm a lawyer in Ontario, Canada, and in Nigeria as well. And I studied in Nigeria at Madonna University and graduated in 2010. From there, I went on to law school and was called to the bar in 2012.
Nice.
So, as many Nigerian graduates, we're thinking of the next step, and I know I wanted to do my master's. So I had the option of going to the UK or coming to Canada. After my research, I realized, with the UK, like many other people, you go to the UK, and after your studies, you can't work. You have to come back to Nigeria. And my intention was to gain some international work experience before going back to Nigeria. I had the intention of going back to Nigeria. If anyone had told me I would still be outside Nigeria right now, like 8 years down the line, I didn't see it, right? So I applied to 1 or 2 schools in Canada. I got admission to the University of Ottawa. And I did my master's in environmental, global sustainability and environmental law. So it was a 2-year. And during my master's, I was applying for jobs. I wanted to see what the job market would be like for lawyers, right? I probably sent out maybe about 150 applications, right? But I was applying
150 applications.
Yes, at least. I was applying to be a legal assistant or a law clerk because I had work experience already, and I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. But I wasn't getting any callbacks, right? Anyway, I finished my master's, and I knew that I had to figure out a way to get licensed to work as a lawyer, right? So after I didn't know anyone. That was the other thing. I came into this country not knowing anyone. I'm not knowing anyone in my field. So it was from the plan, right? So I found a school in Toronto, University of Toronto, and they had the internationally trained lawyer program. So I moved from Ottawa to Toronto after my master's, graduated from University of Toronto, took the bar exam, and all of that, and became a lawyer. Now,
congratulations.
Thank you. So I started the process in 2015 and was called to the bar in 2018, the Ontario bar. While I also, as part of the process, you have to do a 10 months, we call it auditing, but it's like an internship, 10 months placement. And you need to know someone. Obviously, the applications you would send out and all of those things, but you actually it's good to have referral sources. Now there's a platform for lawyers, Nigerian lawyers, on Instagram. She's called a Nigerian lawyer in Canada, and she has all of this information for people who want to become lawyers in Canada about the process and everything. Back then, we didn't have any of that, so we had to try and figure out things on our own. So during my placement, anyway, the lawyer at that time said, you know what, you should think about starting your own law firm. I was like, no, I don't want that responsibility. That's not my goal. I want to work at a good law firm, and that's it. Like, I wasn't thinking of starting my firm. So after I got called to the bar, I was working very hard because my intention was maybe a year after become an associate or work in association with a lawyer. I realized that I was literally working 7 days a week, putting in all that time for someone, but my salary was my salary. The salary for the year is your salary. You're not going to get more than that. So after a bit, I decided to quit that job after a few things and just start my own law firm. So I started in June 2018, and that process is a different thing, but I haven't looked back. A friend of mine for the longest time would send me job postings. Oh, Joanne, there's this job. Are you going to apply? And I said, babe, I'm not looking for work. How can you say you're not looking for work? Do you think this thing is not easy? You can't just start a law firm and think to get clients. I said, I'm not going back. I am not going back to working for someone again. Except the government is going to offer me something that is too good to be true. I may think about it. But if you're working 24 hours a day, you know what you're putting in, you know what you're getting, right? So that's a summary of my 2013 till now.
It's a very, very brief and cryptic summary, I must say. You hit on a lot of points, and what I'm going to do is pick on them, you know, and then we can expatiate, right? We pick on them and we can expatiate. So the first thing is that you mentioned you wanted to go to UK and Canada. Like, those were the two choices that you had. You eventually settled for Canada, and you gave example like one of the major reasons, which was like UK wanted you to come back after your study. In Canada, you have the opportunity to get international work experience and return home. And you said you didn't plan to stay back. What made you stay back? I'm curious. This is just my own curiosity.
Okay, so I believe in following through on things, right? I don't really see myself as a quitter. I don't quit, right? I knew that I couldn't work as a legal assistant or law clerk for a very long time. I was built to be a lawyer, right? So after my master's, I needed to work. I needed to become a lawyer, and there's a process. You have to take the exam and all of that. So that process took me 2 years, and it's right now I can say it's not a lot of money, but back then it was a lot of money, especially for someone whose parents take care of them from Nigeria. You know, the exchange rate and all of that. And having to work part-time as a study. So I knew that after putting in all this money into the system, I needed to work here to, first of all, gain experience, which is very, very important, right? And to make back some of that money we paid for our masters and all of that. When I came to masters, and that was a goal in front of me. So I wasn't thinking, oh, 8 years or 6 or 7 years down the line, I was thinking Canada. I wasn't thinking like that, right?
I get you.
Canada is a good place to be. If you work hard, you will see the results. You don't have to deal with the challenges that we face in Nigeria, either because you don't know someone who knows someone who knows someone, either because you're a woman and there's just this glass ceiling there. There's some of these challenges that they show up here in a different way, but you have the opportunity to do, right? So that opportunity is here. So why not? Why do I have to rush back to Nigeria when there's still a lot to achieve here, right? So, yeah.
Well, and the truth is that anybody who is thinking about the life and thinking about the bigger picture,
Yeah.
we don't find it hard staying back in Canada, right? Because
Mhm.
just like you said, it doesn't mean that Canada doesn't have any challenge at all. They show up in different ways, but there's a difference between like like if you were to compare and contrast the amount of challenges you will face growing your career somewhere else versus the one in Canada, you will feel that the one in Canada is lesser, or even if when they show up, like
Yeah.
there are some ways you can go about it. If you see that someone has discriminated against you based on your gender, at least there's something you can do, you know?
Yes.
Compared to a place where that is, like there's so much impunity about these things happening, everyone sees it as very normal. So when you complain, it's like, why are you even complaining about something that is very normal?
Yeah.
You know, so well, thank you for explaining that. Now, something else you mentioned was you talked about doing a program at University of Toronto for international trained lawyers. So
Yeah.
you're saying that there is a program that people that read law and want to study, want to practice in Canada, there's a program they can go to. Do you know how many months the program is?
Yeah, you so
Okay.
the program was called Internationally Trained Lawyers Program at the University of Toronto. Unfortunately, my set was the last set.
Okay.
So now what they have done is they have sort of combined that program with their masters in law program at the University of Toronto, right?
Oh.
Yes. So outside of we call it the ITLP program, International Training Lawyers Program. Outside of the ITLP program, when you want to prepare for the accreditation exams and the Ontario Bar exam, so I'm going to talk only about Ontario because
Yeah.
the same thing across Canada, but this is Ontario specific, right? So outside of the ITLP program, there are tutors, people who can tutor you for the bar exam at an affordable rate. So it's not like you have to break the bank for it, right? So there are tutors that can tutor you for the exam, and you take the bar exam.
Okay.
And I know that for countries where education is an important thing, you know that after university, after your first degree, the next thing is masters, right? For me, I was lucky to come into Ontario and do a master's. The master's program is expensive, right? But I'm sure with your guidance, people can find scholarship opportunities. Not everyone will qualify for scholarship, obviously, right? So, if anybody is looking for a foot into the door when it comes to Canadian work system and education, if they cannot afford a master's, they can look for a 2-year postgraduate diploma program. With a 2-year program, you get a 3-year work permit, right? And within that, after that 3 years, you can apply for a permanent residency. When you have your permanent residency, you can now decide to your
Yeah, I see your point.
working student instead of an international student. So there are these different ways, but I wanted to do my master's. I didn't know of all of this before I left here. So,
Thank you. That's the point, because like most times, especially a lot of the early people that came in, right? Just the same thing. When I was coming to Canada, I didn't know anything about permanent residency. I didn't know about express entry and the whole
anything like that.
So all I just wanted to do was come to my master's. Is upon arrival, I started hearing about all these things, and I'm like, wait, who kept this information away from me? So that's just like what we are trying to do now, to educate and inform people that don't know about this, because to some people, this is the first time they'll be hearing about news like this, right? So yeah, and one of the things you mentioned too, which I very much agree with, is that sometimes And I've seen this a lot. Sometimes a lot of people focus on, so how do I start working in Canada? How do I start working in Canada? And I said, and they're going through this whole plenty big routes. In fact, some we asking for English exam and all those kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, there is one simple way as well, which is you can apply for masters or postgraduate diploma, you know, which is even some postgraduate diploma, because some postgraduate diploma are like 1 year, which is basically like 8 months of study, and you can still qualify for 1 year post-graduation work permit. Funny enough, this is not official, but I have people that finished from, let's say, University of Waterloo 1 year program, and they got 3 years post-graduation work permits. Seriously, because sometimes it differs, and some people, what they do is like, let's say they finish that program, they take another 4 months program in, let's say, a school like Conestoga. Now, because it's more than 1 year, they just say it's 2 years, so they'll just give you that bonus. So even though by the books it says that 1 year study gives you 1 year post-graduation work permit, but in practice, I've seen it to differ for some people. You know, so the point is that people can actually take come through study. That could be like a place to like to put your door or your foot on the door, just like yeah, that's something that people have to consider. And so now let me move on to, you know, I kind of got interested when you said you did a master's in global sustainability and environmental law. You know, it's not, that name is not so common. That's not you know, some people just, I want to do masters in law, you know, it's almost like they should just go and look for a program called Masters in Law. So how did you come about this name? Was it that you were searching and you bumped into it, or you've always known this name? How did you come about it?
Well, it's an interesting story because when I was in university, Madonna University, I was doing my project in final year. And my focus was oil and gas law. Now, I'm very passionate about justice, access to justice, fairness for people. And during my research, I got to find out about the hardship people in Niger Delta face because of gas flaring, health issues, and all of that. Right? So, I wanted to do a master's in petroleum and oil and gas with the mindset to help change the practices of the oil companies, right? Or the practices cannot change because they need to process oil or gas for money. At least the compensation for the community goes to the community instead of the community needing. Because obviously, you know that when there's corruption, the money goes to the top and it never trickles down to the people that actually suffer. So I was looking for a master's in petroleum and oil and gas. And when I started searching universities in Canada and going through details of the program, I realized that what I should be studying is global sustainability and environmental law instead of oil and gas law. Right? And that made the decision for me. I knew that I needed to figure out ways for companies to be sustainable in their practices. So that was how I shifted my focus from oil and gas law to environmental law. Right? And it's good to specialize. You know, if you study, I know you have followers from other parts of the world, outside of Nigeria. But when you study in Nigeria, it's rare for people to pick a specialization while they are still in university in Nigeria, right? Here in Canada, you need to do a first degree before you go to law school. So you can do a first degree in any program before you study law. So
wait, can I study law?
Yeah.
Oh my God! That's interesting.
Yeah, you can. You can study like just to take the LSAT and you go to the law school here, 3 years law school, right? So what that does for people here in Canada is by the time you have their first degree, let's say in science, identity, in whatever, and they study law, they can specialize. there's medicine law, there's sports law. There are all of these areas in Canada. So the scope is broad. You don't, because you don't do general LLM, who are you, right? So you can study business in the university and come here and do masters in law with a combination of business, right? They have all these organizations. So, and anyone who wants to do a master's in law in the future can come here, choose a postgraduate diploma in any area. And when they are done, they go to take their licensing process for law, and they can choose to specialize. It boosts your resume, right? When you apply to law firms here want to see the places you have worked and the things that you have done, including research and all of those things. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
yeah. You know, one other thing, I've seen you say this like twice since we've been talking. So let me just pick on it.
okay.
You mentioned postgraduate diploma like twice, as I said. One thing I noticed is that some people, maybe even some people that have done masters, right? They're like, Linda, what course can I take? I'm like, oh, you can do postgraduate diploma. And they're like, postgraduate diploma. And I can understand because, you know, like I'm from Nigeria as well, right?
Yeah.
In Nigeria, people that postgraduate diploma wasn't popular. People that mostly did postgraduate diploma, like, let's say if you have third class and you want to do masters and they say do postgraduate diploma, or you have HND, which is like higher national diploma, and then they say, oh, before you do masters, you do postgraduate diploma. So it was a bridge between what people wanted and like where they are, that kind of thing. Then if you're going to school and you have like first class, 2-1 or whatever, then there was never any need for postgraduate diploma. But what some people don't understand is that the use of postgraduate diploma in another country, say for example Canada, and many other high-income countries, can be different. It can be a stepping stone to like learn something new or use it to kind of specialize in a way. You know, it's not to specialize doesn't necessarily need PhD. That's a good route to take, but that's not the only way. Or sometimes you are doing something, but you just want to get an extra skill. Let me give an example. I always give this example. Like, let's say if I sell plastics and I have MBA, Master's in Business Administration, I can decide to get, let's say, a postgraduate diploma in plastic processing. You know, just to get special skill or to specialize in something, you can use a postgraduate diploma. And they are very easy because some of them go, usually they are 1 year or 2 years. But a lot of them are 1 year, and that 1 year includes the summer break. So sometimes like 8 months of study and you are done with that thing. So postgraduate diploma plays an essential role that a lot of people haven't still realized that that's something they can think about even after having an advanced degree or even if they have good grades.
People need to focus on what they want as opposed to what people will think if they do a diploma, right? Many of the diploma programs here postgraduate diploma because they have diplomas that are not for graduates, right? Postgraduate diploma means you have graduated from
postgraduate diploma
institution and you're doing a diploma after the higher institution, right? And many of the postgraduate diplomas here, many of them have an internship component, which means that partway through your program, you can apply to companies. In fact, companies come to the school to run an interview process to hire people in their companies. That is one of the easiest ways to get your foot in the door. Honestly speaking, you go to diploma and come out with all A's, the job will be waiting for you. And all A's is not difficult to do, right? So if you know the end goal, you know where you're going, taking these steps to get there is not being an issue because you're doing it for your own progress. It is better to do that than for you to say, you know what, I'm going to wait until I gather all my money for masters. Because if you take the masters, it doesn't give you that fruit, except your master has an internship company, like my masters have. So anytime people are applying to come to Canada, you should look for programs that have internship companies. Because you want to have Canadian work experience by the time you're done with your program, right? So that's a very useful tip. that internship helps you. By the time you start applying for jobs for school, you can show that you have Canadian work experience. So,
I get
yeah.
you. I totally agree with you. Now, let me pose it. We are going to take question and answer. So, if you're watching us and you have questions for our barrister here, please type so that I can go through and see the questions, right? But let me ask you this before we get into the question session, while giving people opportunity to also type their question. So, this is a scenario question. So let's assume that this is me, Linda. I'm in Nigeria, which I'm using Nigeria as a point of contact for somebody in any country that is outside of Canada now. I want to come to Canada to study, or I'm thinking of going abroad to study. It doesn't even have to be Canada. So, what would be your advice for me?
Take your time to do the research. Not many people like to do research. They want somebody to do it for them, right? Obviously, I mean, if you want someone to do it for you, of course, you're ready to pay the person. But even before you do that, before you pay someone, you still need to do your research to kind of understand what you want, the options you want, and all of that. Before I did my admission, before I even knew about University of Ottawa, where I did my master's, when I spoke to many of the immigration agencies in Nigeria, they were just pushing me towards diploma, and it was like, diploma is one thing. They just say, don't just use it and take the school fees and get into Canada. And when you get it, figure it out. It's a huge lie. Even if you're going to do a diploma, we have too many programs, too many options in the university colleges, which is another thing. Colleges take diploma, offer diploma programs as well as the university. Figure out what you're interested in or what you think you'll be interested in and apply for that diploma. Don't, even if your school fees is going to be $2,000 for the year compared to $24,000 for masters, don't just throw the money away. Every money you spend should do something for you, right? So you want to know, and there are resources. Like now we have all of these Instagram things, people on Facebook that share information, in Naira Land as well. There's all this information. Right? So do your research and know what you want to do. In Canada, there are several provinces. Where in Nigeria we have different states, right? So depending on the province, the rules will be different. That's why it's important to have an immigration consultant that has an idea of the different rules and the best place to be. Personally, Ontario is a very good place to be because it has a large market in terms of the job market. It's also more expensive than some of the other provinces. But if you want opportunities, Ontario is the place to be, one of the places to be in Ontario, right? So figure out what you want to do, and you can work while you study, right? So when you're in school, you can work part-time. It used to be 25 hours a week. I don't know what it is right now. And in the summer, when school is not in session, you can work full-time. Even if it is a minimum wage job, it is something, it brings you income, brings money to your account, right? The other thing is, people, when you apply to come to Canada, they want you to show ties to your country so that if they need to send you back, you have something to fall back on. So I always tell people, you may not be able to buy land right now, but you should buy shares. Have share certificates. You can buy shares, it doesn't have to be a lot, but have different shares in different places because that shows you submit your application, you can submit landed documents to show that you have own house and own land. You submit your bank statement. You also submit share certificates showing that you own shares in different countries, different companies, in your country, right? That kind of adds to your application. So that's yours, including and then in addition to the sponsors, right? And there are scholarship opportunities. The thing with Canada is everything is done a year ahead of time. If you want to go to school September next year, you need to start your application and register a year before, because many of the scholarships, the decisions are made a year before school begins. So procrastination is a very bad idea, right? So do your research a year before, look for the scholarships a year before, and look at how you qualify. Now, the other thing I know is many schools, if you're applying for a master's, many schools in Canada want you to have a 2-1. But there's an exception. You either have a 2-1, a minimum of 2-1 altogether, or your last 2 years in university, you had a 2-1. So let's say you graduated with a 2-2, but your last 2 years, you did so well that you had a 2-1. You have schools that last, right? So people shouldn't just think diploma is their only option just because they don't have a 2-1. They need to look at their academic qualifications for the last 2 years of their program. And then people will tell you, oh, it took me like 4 or 5 years to find my team and all of that. That shouldn't bother you, because you know that once you have the qualification, once you're in that job market and start working, you will remember the last 5 years. If you're very determined, you're very hardworking, you're going to pick up very quickly. You and I started as students. I can tell you that the first 6 months coming into Canada, I had to cut my hair because it was going to cost me like $150 to be making my hair, right? So I was willing to give myself, to take those sacrifices, right? I worked at a grocery store while I was doing my master's. Somebody who was 19 was my manager. Like, they will talk to you anymore, but you have to be focused. There are medical doctors that are taking their exams, for the writing taxes and all of that, right? So you just grind because you know that you have a goal. You have an end product. Not everybody comes from a lot of money. And even if you're a rich man child in Nigeria, by the time you convert that money to dollars, it's almost nothing, right? So research is important, patience is important, and surrounding yourself with people who are working towards the same thing is also important. And if you're a graduate from Nigeria and you are less than 35, you can see this is qualified for express entry. This is another one. So express entry is to apply to become a permanent resident. Let's say you're more than 35 and you're married and your spouse is under 35. Both of you can apply together, right? And the person who is less than 35 can be the principal applicant, right? So, and people will say, oh, you know what, one spouse has a very good job in Nigeria and everything, we don't want to leave Nigeria. The truth is, you can apply for a permanent residence. When you land in Canada, the other person can go back and continue working until they get the right job here in Canada. I believe there's a validity period. I think in 5 years, you need to have been in Canada for 2 or 3 years. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right? But that you want to have access to the country. One spouse is working, once that person is now more comfortable, the other person can come and join them or whatever. Because the truth is, we really do these things for ourselves, but more importantly, for our children that are coming. Right? Because you know the truth of the country, right? Not everybody's going to be able to leave the country. And really, the truth is, the goal is not just to leave the country and forget the country. We need to grow, have these connections, and see how we can help Nigeria. Because Nigeria is a good place to be. We have the best weather there. So we should be in that country. Everything is working out well. Right? So, yeah. Let me stop that.
Wow. See, what you did was package like this. I see, I'm still listening, even though my ear is still listening. You have dropped so many. Like I can't try to see my books. I can't write it because you hit several points. Like I've talked about a lot of these points at different points when I'm making videos and everything. So I'm just going to let me run through a quick summary of what you said because it's like in case somebody wasn't listening, this is the last opportunity for them to listen because you really dropped a lot of things. First thing you said was do your research. You know, listen to you. I'm like, did I talk with you before we started? He's like, did I tell you what to say? Because I'm listening to you. I'm like, whoa. In my mind, I'm like, that. It's like John Reed's mind now. Do your research, and I can't shout this enough. Some people think that you know, for example, we have a master class where we teach students how to be able to do the application and even apply for scholarship. We have a master class, right, where we teach students how to do application and apply for scholarship, even those that just want to get admission, how to do it by themselves. But sometimes you see people, they're like, no, I want an agent. And I'm like, wait. He's like, you don't know that there are things agents will not do for you. And when I say it, even some agents will come after me like, I'm wicked. I'm like, no, I paid an agent. When I was coming, I paid an agent. They got me admission.
I did too.
But I know how that should I say that transaction went, and it's all purely transactional, right? The agent is not going to think your future for you. He's not going to think about your career progress for you. It is only you who can think about those things and say, oh, okay, if I apply to this one, I get scholarship. If I'm not coming for scholarship, let me apply for this one. You know, sorry, I have a call coming in, so it's cutting me. So let me do this, let me do that. Only you can, I tell you, you are your best agent. Only you can think about your best. Only you can be doing your application and you have your 100% interest. For somebody else, that interest is not 100%. They want you to get the admission quite well. But most times, so that you don't ask for a refund. So the person is doing everything to get the easiest admission for you. But the easiest admission may not be the best admission. You know? So I always say, learn how to do it yourself. Now, some people are like, I don't have time. And I still say, learn how to do it. Then you can find somebody to do it for you. Why? At that point, you can supervise. At that point, you can tell them what you want. You know, when you know what to do, but you don't have time to do it, and you now get an agent to do it for you, you can say, I want this type of masters. When they say it's not available, you say, wait, check University of Regina. I saw it there. Then when they even know that you know what you want, then it's easier for that person to go the extra mile. But when you don't have an idea, it's everything they just tell you that they're just going to take. Who is going to suffer? You. Even though you have paid them that money, you understand? It's still the candidates, like the person that is coming, that is going to suffer. Like now, there are schools that are, like school fees vary, and the variance is wide. So you see a program, that program will be $10,000 a year. Now, I didn't even know how to find this type of programs until we got access to a software that helps you to get all the schools that offer a particular course, and you can sort it based on school fees, right? And you can transform the school search method that we teach students. Like a student found an MBA that was $5,000. We couldn't believe it, though. We couldn't believe it. I was like, no, this is not possible. Right to the school. Somebody's playing tricks. The school replied and said it's true. I was like, this $5,000 MBA. Another school is offering that same program for $21,000 a year, and it's 2 years. Or even more.
Even $100,000, right?
So the point is, now that person, when they get your admission and is $50,000, the person will say, oh, I don't have the money, so you don't come. But if you had known what to do, it's possible for you to find the school that will have, you know, that will be your pocket size.
So people are also interested in top schools in a country. If money is not your problem, of course, go ahead, right? Because University of Toronto school fee was almost 40,000. University of Ottawa was 21,000. right? But University of Ottawa is also a very good school. So you will find variation in the school fees, obviously based on the rankings of the schools, right? But you need a way to come into the country to get what you need to go to those top schools. So if you can't get in from Nigeria or any other country where you are because of the school fees or anything like that, you can come for one program, and when you're done and you have your papers and whatever, you go to the other school to do the
Because
program
as
for one.
a local student, you pay local tuition, and which
Yes,
is most
yeah,
times even
permanent
less than
resident.
half of what
Yes,
international students pay.
yes,
International
yes.
students pay about 3 times what local students pay on the average.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So yeah, all these things take strategy, right? All these
yeah,
things take strategy. Now, there are another, so I always advise people learn how to do it yourself. And
mm-hmm.
that learning, just like you mentioned, doesn't have to be that you paid us. You know, when I say it to some people, but you say master class, why wouldn't you say so? Just like you mentioned, there are other places you can find information. You can go to Naira Land, you can go to like it's not, and this advice is not only for Nigerians. So
Yeah,
depending on the news carriers and all the places you can get information from in your
yeah,
country, you can always check them.
yeah,
However, the advantage, does our training have advantage? Yes. It's like that time you are using to go to every part of the internet to look for. If supposing you had somebody who could tell you that in like 30 days or 6 weeks, then that can
yeah,
save you a lot of time, right? Then there
yeah.
was something else you talked about, which is work while you study. Some people keep asking, can you work as a student? Yes, you can work. You know,
You
I
can.
found this student
Yeah.
that told me that the agent say, I will apply for study permit for you, I will apply for work permit for you. You know, they split study permit from the work permit
Me too. Yes.
it's two, so that they can charge more expensive money. I'm
Yeah.
like, girl,
You don't have
you
to.
can
If
work
you
as
don't
a
speak
student.
anything to Canada, you have yeah, an opportunity to work. You don't, they give you both. So in my time, I came into Canada in 2013. Back then, you had to wait 6 months before you can start working. So you have to wait 6 months to apply for your work permit. Because they realize that many people come into the country with study permits and they don't go to school. They just want to work, right? So as part of the conditions for your study permit, you must satisfy your school requirements and graduate. You can't use the government school and face work to make money. Once your study visa has expired and you want to renew, it's not going to renew it for you, and you have to go back to your home country. And for me, I feel anyone who is able to come into Canada and cannot make it work for themselves and they have to return back has wasted a very, very good opportunity that they will not find in any other country, right? So it's easy if you want to compare to other countries, for you
Yeah,
to work, right?
yeah.
Because you come in here, you work, and after a while, you find out that you can start to think of those things you never thought of before, like owning a home, investing in different business opportunities, even having your own business, right? So there are students in Canada that have their business here in Canada. So there are opportunities, a lot of opportunities that you will not get if you were in Nigeria, right? So
Yeah. And then another point you hit was applying ahead of time. Some
yeah,
people, what they just do is like September is next month. We're doing this in August. Some people are
yeah,
still messaging me whether they can start school September. I'm like, yeah. How do you want to use 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to get your admission, submit for visa, get it and start? When you tell people start ahead of time,
yes,
I don't know. So which you mentioned already, which is what people should start far ahead of time. If you
yes,
want to be top notch on top of your game, start 1 year ahead of time. Yes, you
yes.
can still get admission if it's, let's say people are still applying for January right now,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
about I think 5 months to that time, or
Mm.
6 months to that time, and that still makes sense. You will have enough time to get admission, apply for visa, especially for international students, right? Apply for visa and be able to get everything ready before you come. So that's a crucial information that I took away from your advice. And then you
Yes.
talked about people with 2-2 but high final year and semi-final
Yeah,
grades
last year in
can actually
university.
do masters. And even if the person have two, they can apply for postgraduate diploma. We've already talked about how postgraduate diploma is a
Yeah,
very good
definitely.
route that somebody can actually take. Even somebody with your class can apply for postgraduate diploma. So a HND holder can apply for postgraduate diploma. So it's like there's something for anybody, provided that person is interested. Yeah. And the other one is growth of skin, right? Where we talk about patience, persistence, that ability to do what it takes. Some people they
Yeah.
just want to hear that it's so easy, it's so simple, I will not suffer. I will just come like this on high heels. Yes, you're gonna come on high heels, but if we say that there's no day you just be like, God, I don't suffer, it may not
Yeah.
necessarily be true and the true representation of things. But the thing is, you pass through the suffering. Look at your face. Your face does not look like anybody that has suffered before. I passed through that same suffering. Look at.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
I say that when I came to Canada, I'm a dentist, right? And I arrived at Canada. I went to take a job at a restaurant,
Yes.
and we even say that that was okay. That was also because of the kind of advice the people I met on ground told me. Because as I kept doing my research after few months working there, I saw there were other places I could work, including inside school. And like
Inside school,
yeah,
yeah.
I got a job as a library assistant. I got a
Yeah.
job as a customer service agent as time went on. So the point is, if I knew, but okay, I applied to 10 places and I got some interviews and I finally took one job, right? But those 10 places were restaurants. So because I applied to restaurant, there was no way I was going to get a job somewhere else.
It doesn't-
So like I
Yeah.
sentenced myself to a restaurant job, you know.
Yeah.
So the point is now when people get those information, they can actually use it, and they are like some of my friends now or students I work with arrive here and their first job is a customer service agent and they sit in an office and they are working, right? So it doesn't like those old advice does not even necessarily have to hold. The most
Have to be
important
the
thing is
case.
that
Yeah.
as a student you can work part-time, you can work inside school, you can work outside of school, especially for Canada. Canada is really a good place for anyone to think of studying. And if you come here to study, you can actually stay back. And just like you mentioned, when you say some people say, hey, don't run away from your country, and I'm like, the work I'm doing in Nigeria right now, many people, including the person that is telling me don't run away from my country, is not working more than me in that country. Like I can boldly say that, but we're doing so much, we're helping a lot of people. If I didn't step out, I probably would not have that opportunity to help somebody else. But because I stepped out, I got international education, I got international connection. Like even research-wise, I've been able to bring my professor and some people from my school to actually fund research in Nigeria, right? The people that will benefit from the research, I mean, the people that the research were done on and all those things, we worked on older adults. And even the researchers themselves, all these persons are Nigerians. On all that is cash flow into the country. I would be able to do that if I was staying there in Nigeria. Yeah. So going outside to study doesn't mean that you are forgetting your nation or you're not patriotic. Instead, it can actually be a leverage to become more patriotic. To be able to do that.
And people outside, I think people think only people in developing countries leave their countries to Western countries to go study or for business opportunities. That's not true. There are people, like even during my master's, there are people who need to do their thesis and they go to other countries or they do exchange programs with people with schools in other countries and they go study elsewhere. There are people that, trust me, Canadian universities cannot take all the people that want to become doctors and lawyers. Some people go abroad from Canada, they go abroad to other countries to go study and then come back to Canada. So, not in a global village, right? There are opportunities everywhere. Where you see an opportunity, you take it to grow so that you can help, you can take back. Right? You can help your country, your home country, your family, and all of that. Not everybody's going to be a politician's child. Not everybody's going to have that money. And you're making a lot of money as a single person When you get married, you have children, your responsibilities increase more than your income, right? People have businesses in Nigeria, for example, and they are owed money for months. People are owing them and all of that. So you work so hard and you don't see it. But
Yeah,
here, you put in that effort, you
and you
receive it,
see. Mm-hmm.
right? So it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Somebody was asking if you can get a master's admission without work experience.
Yes, you don't need work experience to get admission into university or you need work experience.
Okay.
Once you have a degree from a university or like a HND or OND, yes, you can apply for a master's or diploma here in Canada. You don't need work experience. The other thing that people need to remember is why I say apply on time is that you need to send your transcript from your university in your home country to Canada. And the processing time can be different for different schools, but they are usually long because you have to send the transcript directly to Canada. So you want to make sure you apply on time and you need to make sure you're ahead of time. Interesting story. When I applied to the UK, my transcript was sent. So when you apply, you list all the courses by year, and then you apply for your transcript as well, so that they look at your application with your transcript. When my transcript got to school, in my 400 level, they listed some courses that I did not do and removed some courses that I did. So my application was inconsistent with what the school had sent. The school made a mistake, right? So some of those things could happen and it sets you back, right? So you want to make sure you're doing things on time. You want to make sure you're following up with the school to ensure that the information they're sending outside the country is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody has said, are there postgraduate diploma for people that study other courses, or is it just for law?
Oh no. Okay, so in cheat sheet, when you want to search for anything about any country on Google, for example, Canada, don't use google.ng or google.com. Use google.ca. It will give you all the information that you need. So when you're on google.ca, you put colleges in Canada. That's broad. Pick a province. Find out the provinces in Canada. Colleges in Ontario. You will actually see a website that gives you a list of all the colleges in Ontario. And when you click on each of them, you will see the programs that it offers. Trust me, there are probably 50 different specializations, 50 different fields. Some you not even, you even find something like woodwork, diploma in woodwork, something like that. Right? There's a lot, there's so many options, and you can diversify.
Yeah. Like, seriously, I just need them to hear it from your mom. When I talk, sometimes it seems me I put water in my mouth, like, and you can't hear me. So over and over again, we have to say it from different people so that people can really understand this. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking out your time this this day to come and educate everyone. Seriously, I've also learned a lot of things from what you said. For example, even this google.ca. I've never really searched for anything on Google using, Google for that country. And this very little info, small info, when you put them together, it becomes a strong force that can really transform somebody's life, Some people will tell me that, I just follow your page, I've been able to apply for admission, I've gotten it. So it's not like this information, for people that know what they're doing, they can pick it and run with it, So I'm really grateful that you decided to call. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was a bit nervous because I'm not a camera person. I don't know how to behave in front of the camera. Like
you did wonderful, man. You did wonderful.
It was
Doing
good to come
wonderful.
and, share some information. People are really lucky to have this resource because it wasn't available before, right? You literally just try and go your way around and try and figure things out as you go along. So these things are very helpful, and people need to trust the system. Part of your research should be when you come across a professional, right? Um, um, try and get more information about it. Obviously, you don't want to pay money. I know there are people who have experienced situations where they have paid money to someone in another country for immigration or to buy a house for them or something. None of the people the person disappears, right? But when you see professionals, when you see people that put themselves out on Instagram, their information is there and everything, you can do your research and know who you can trust, right? Don't be scared to take that leap of faith. And it's not by the number of followers. It's more about the richness in content, right? Not everybody has a website, but you can see, even from the comment section, you can see people who comment and you can message them personally like, hey, have you worked with this person before? How did you hear about this person? I'm trying to find more information before I work with them and pay them any money, right? But you do those things and get the results you want because the rules change very quickly. That's another thing, right? If you're waiting and you're thinking, oh, let me still see what happens and all of that, the rules may be this today, tomorrow, especially if an person in Canada has got different rules, you've lost out on an opportunity, right? So if you've made up your mind to go with the flow, and so you don't lose out on your opportunity, right? So
Thank you. That's very true. That's
yeah.
very things are changing, and if you don't take advantage of it, it ends, and that's it. But sorry, just as one of the ending, what does your law firm do?
Okay, so I am a real estate and business lawyer. So I ask for people who want to buy a house, sell their house, or get a mortgage to help them buy the house. I also advise and consult with clients who want to start their business here in Canada, right? And basically try and help them structure things in a way whereby they are making good use of their money. So there are people that don't know that you can buy property from outside Canada, but you can actually do that. There are rules around it, but it's doable. So many
Yeah.
people do it. The Chinese do it, the Indians do it, so it's possible, right? And there are people that have taken that leap of faith as well. The thing is, like I was saying, people don't trust professionals. They prefer to give money to their brother or their cousin or someone to help them do something. But there are people that know that it has ended in tears. It's very Nigerian, right? So there are professionals here in Canada. There's accountability,
Yeah.
right? So when somebody says they are an immigration consultant or they are a lawyer or any other profession, there's a regulatory body. They can't just take your money and disappear, right? So trust the process. You're looking to buy a house, you're looking to invest in Canada, you're looking for something that will bring you additional income outside of your daily savings in your bank account that probably gives you 10% and the bank will take 5 to 10%. Then do that research and all of that. So I do real estate and business law.
Okay.
And